Okay, there's a lot of pretty straightforward things on here, though there's a couple calculator things I want to review with you that I think you will like. Okay, so when you're doing this whole area volume stuff there, what I did first was graph both of these into the graphing calculator, and I kind of made a note for myself that that was my Y1, that was my Y2. So if I have to access those, I can use my shortcuts. So there's my Y1 and there's my Y2. And when I graphed it, I hit zoom 6 to do the normal viewing window. And then it was a little scrunched up, but there's my graph of that stuff right there. So let me just review with you. If I hit the zoom function and go down to number 2 where it says zoom in, I can move my cursor. Now I'm just gonna put it up in that region where I need both of those like R and S regions right there. I'm gonna hit enter on that just to try to get that to open up a little bit more and to look more closely like the stuff on the actual test they gave us. All right, perfect. And really, I just need that intersection point right there. So let's review that one more time. All right, it's in your graphic calculator video, but I'll review it one more time. It's been a while since I reviewed that. So if you hit the trace button first, put your cursor near there, and then just hit second trace, brings up your calculator menu. You're going to hit number 5 where it says intersection point, and then for intersection points are easy. You're just going to hit enter 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then it gives you that intersection point right there. So then you jot down both the X and the Y because you're not sure if you're going to need both of those or not. So jot them down right now so you don't have to do that again. And then for letter A, I want to show you a nice shortcut here. Anytime your top curve changes, notice they're asking for the sum of these two areas right there. And so you could do two separate integrals. You could go G minus F from 0 to 1.033 plus the integral of F minus G from 1.033 to the 2, okay? And that's my work right here. And do two different math 9s. You could do Y2 minus Y1 and Y1 minus Y2, two different math 9s. You're gonna get that answer. Although there's a nice shortcut. If you ever notice that your top curve changes, you can do this with one integral as long as you put it in absolute value bars, okay? So I'm gonna review that way. So it doesn't matter whether you do G minus F or F minus G, you can go from 0 to the 2, as long as you put it in absolute value bars, it'll work out for you. Because if you did go F minus G, if you did accidentally do G minus F, you get the same answer, just you get like the opposite sign right there. So the absolute value bars is gonna fix that. And so let me just review that in the calculator with you. I'm gonna hit second quit, and I'm gonna hit the math 9, and I'm gonna go from 0 to 2. And then if you want the absolute value bars, that's in your math menu. If you hit the math button, go over to the right where it says number, absolute value is your very first one. It's already highlighted. Hit enter there, and then you can put in your math button. And then instead of typing in those functions again, I already know that's my Y2 minus Y1. So I just went to go G minus F, but it's going to work too, even if you do F minus G. But so I'm just going to go alpha trace. Remember the axis, you're going to get alpha trace, and then there's my Y2, there's my G of X, and I'm going to go minus alpha trace. There's my Y1, there's my F of X, and then if I hit that DX button right there, hit enter on that, it gives me that answer with one integral versus two. So just kind of keep that in mind, or if it works in your brain to just do top minus bottom and switch up those two different tops right there and do two different integrals, whatever works in your brain, that'll work too. I mean, it's on the calculator part of the test, so it doesn't take long to plug that stuff into the calculator. All right, and then letter B, where it says cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis, I drew a line something, and it just says region S. So you're only talking this region right here. So we draw a line something perpendicular to that given axis, call that S, and we find the length of that S is just going to be top Y minus bottom Y. In this case, is F minus G. And they said we're doing squares. So the cross sections, you integrate the area of your cross section shape. You're going to integrate squares. So you're going to integrate that thing squared. So I integrate the F minus G squared, and it's just the S region. So from the 1.033 to the 2, math 9 that thing, be careful and make sure you're doing it on your own. Make sure you're able to get that answer pretty easily there with the math 9. And then the last part, it says H is the vertical distance between the graphs F and G in that region S. So H is just the vertical distance between those, same thing as S, just the vertical distance between the two graphs is just top Y minus bottom Y, which is still F minus G. And then it wants to find the rate at which H changes. That is automatically a derivative. The rate at which something changes, how fast something's changing, that's your derivative. So you want to find H prime at the 1.8 right there. And so this is where you could do the math 8 function. So let's actually do this. So you could do F prime 1.8 minus G prime 1.8. That'll get you the answer. Or you can just go F minus G at the 1.8. Let's just practice that real quick in the calculator. So I'm going to hit my math 8 button. and then my F was my Y1. So first I gotta hit the X button there, and then here's my function. So I'm gonna go F minus G. It'll take the derivative for me, and I'm plugging that number. So I'm gonna hit alpha trace, and my F was the Y1, so there's that, and I'm gonna go minus my G function. So I'll hit alpha trace again. There's my Y2, there's my F function. I'm sorry, there's my F function, there's my G functions. There's F minus G in there, and then you're gonna type in your number, which is the 1.8, and that should give us that answer there. That's your negative 3.812. Or if you want to do two separate math aids, that'll work as well. Good talk.